Do you want to wait? Maybe someone else will join us?
Maybe wait for 1 or 2 more minutes.
Yeah, we can wait. There's no rush. We can wait.
Yeah, see if
Maybe even Ram will be able to. Ram, his wife is expecting, every day now. So we are very sensitive with his time. He wants to stay close to home, but I'm very delighted with the way he joined us. And he's new. He just joined us this year, but he was doing an excellent job, and I was really very, very impressed and very happy. And I'm glad to say that he will stay with us, which is very important. So we are having a very, very good team now. It's not very easy to get the kind of people that we need for the support, because it's kind of different thinking, both the industry and the technology and the education, and of course the Rotary and the industry. So many interests and so many, and for this to be successful, everybody has to be happy. Everybody has to see
right.
the advantage and get some benefit from it. So we're flexing, we're trying to be the answer for everybody. So this is demanding, but when you do it right, it's a symbol that we had 15 schools from around the world. We were planning in the pilot to have 10 schools. And we had 15, which was not. But and this is 15 under the Corona constraints. So it was really the only people who didn't join at all this year were the people from India. They had a lot of interest from India, from 3 districts, and a couple of clubs and schools, and we were very engaged with them. And first, they were pretty much the first to respond. They sent a Rotarian to Israel last year, or 2 years ago, really, to November of 2019. And he was in Water with us, and he saw the activity and so forth. So they were very much into it. But the Corona hit them very, very badly, very, very badly. So in fact, they actually shut down the schools, and they were sort of changing the school year. They saw it. They thought it would go away in a couple of months. So what they did was they declared vacation, and so they actually shut down the schools completely and sent the kids home. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Fine, thank you. What about you?
Good. Good. We're all good.
Glad
So
to see you all.
Here in Brahma.
Min Rama seni.
Mir Palindir, you.
Mir faleminderit. Mir.
hello, Patrick. How are you? We have a
Hello.
lot of
Hello,
friends.
everyone.
Everybody's
I'm fine, thank you. Now, how are you?
very good. Very. I was just telling Arben, I'm recovering, from the very dense, month. We it was really very, very, very dense, because you experience, you joined lately, so we had to rush and get you, as we say, hitting the ground running. We wanted to make sure that you have some speed before you hit the ground and meet the schools. And we also had to expedite it with the Israeli schools to work with it, because it was in the making, but all of a sudden it became real. So that was one part. And they are still also under Corona, so it was not easy. And also the graduation event, which we plan to do, virtually, and we wanted to support it with a website. So we went ahead and designed a website that eventually we used, but there was a big dilemma. We have a lot of ideas on the website, and we wanted to prepare it for the next phase so that it will allow self-registration, and that you can log in and do all the details and the teachers and the subjects, and so you can manage it yourself on the website. And so we don't need to send you stuff and have a Google Drive content depository, and all. We wanted to really mechanize it. And so we spent a lot of time speccing this out and so forth. And then we had a good company that supported us, and time was very short. So they said, listen, guys, you can define it, but you will not have something ready in time. So you may want to downgrade it a little bit so you get something in time. So you have to think again and go on something smaller. And then we had very little time to do it. So we were all rushing to complete the website. And so there were the activity with you, the activity with the Israeli schools, and the activity with the website, and it all had to come together, in very short time. I was concerned. I wasn't sure that we were going to make it all okay. I didn't know what could collapse, but there were too many balls in the air. But luckily, everybody was okay, and we became flexible. We said, all right, so you don't complete the work or you do something, basic, or it doesn't matter, but just keep it together. And so eventually it was very lucky, and the children were very excited with the whole thing. So generally we came out all right, and now we are recovering slowly and starting to think of what we would do next to improve. But this is not the story of what we did. We today are here to hear what you have to say. And our purpose in this, feedback session that we have with everybody in general, schools in Israel, every year, but now, of course, with the schools around the world, is multifolded. We have a couple of goals. First of all, we want to learn, what we did good, what we did, obviously time was very short and the corona, but, to get the feedback, what we did good and what we can improve, what is maybe surplus and not needed, and so forth. So general feedback, number one. And number two, very importantly, how did the children react? How did they like it? Did they get excited? Did they really absorb anything from this idea of awareness of the challenge? And are they committed to really try and do something? Are we doing something right in terms of engaging them? Because this is both important for the water and the environment, and also for the education. In other words, if they are really engaged, then they will benefit from the studies. And to convey the message to them that they are partners really in a pilot, in something very, very new, that, this is the first year. So I'm very glad that you did stick in and did eventually start it up and join, because now you are part of the team zero, okay, number one. And it's, when we go and when we have 100 schools or 1,000 schools, you remember that you were there from day one. So it's, so I'm glad that we did it. So this is our purpose, to listen to you, and I'm recording it, and then we analyze it. And we have the feedback for all 50 schools, in Israel and around the world. And we will then summarize and report to the Rotary as well. And it's very, instrumental too. So this is your chance to say whatever you want. Let me close the door here so we don't have interference. Okay, so it's all yours, and you can start, with Arben, with the Rotary or with the schools, whatever. I'm here to listen.
Okay, then. Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be together with all of you, and I'm really happy that we were able to work all together in this fantastic project. Our club is new, only 11 years, and one of the key projects has been WASH project, water, sanitation, and hygiene. So for the past 9 years now, we have been installing water in public schools across the country. And this is, to drill a well, connect to a water line or water sewer, or building a septic tank or water storage. And recently we have been also installing water filters for schools. So when we heard about the project, the high tech, and it was in the last minute that we were, asked if we wanted to join this project. So right away as a club, we decided to, grab this chance and be part of it. And so we're happy that we did this. and contacted 2 schools in Pristina. They were willing to partnership and join this project. So from our side, we are very, very happy that we joined this project. As a club, we paid some money from our membership to be part of this project. And so every time I report from the results of the project, they are very happy. And we look forward actually to invite both schools, the students that were part of the program, to share with us their project and their experience. So we look forward in this month or next month in one of our regular meetings to have the students with us and the professors or teachers to share their experience from the program. So thank you all for all your hard work. I know it was short time, but it was very, very encouraging to see, our country being part of this wide project. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much. I want to add one note that, of course, we will have a certificate for the schools for participation, which I will send you. We drafted one, we run it around approval, and it will have the Rotary and ITH and, a description of the program, and it will have room for you to add the logo, your logo, and so forth, and for the school, so you can manipulate it and issue it, but we have a draft like this already, and we will send it to you shortly.
Thank you.
And the clubs usually do host schools after the program. That's been a tradition, in clubs in Israel. So having the clubs come to, having the schools come to the club to report, is a practice that we do in Gedera and elsewhere. And so by all means, it's a good idea. Good and exciting for everybody. It's an opportunity for the children to even come and present. So it's not just the teachers. So it's a nice, and the Rotarians get a real immediate feel for, the impact of the program. So it's a very good idea. So what do the teachers have to tell us?
Pitore apo unë ta marr?
Po të vazhdo të më mirë.
Okay.
Jema rrjedha.
Okay, first I want to congratulate you for the graduation event. It was amazing to see all those schools presenting their work, their culture, and everything. And also I wanted to thank you and RHAW for your support during the whole time. For us, difficult, it was just we had a group of 25 students who worked in the projects, not just that one that we presented, but who will present. So that was our challenge, because everyone wanted to be part of the event. So that was the challenge. The students worked a lot, many projects, but we could present just one of them. So I don't know. I think that they did okay. It was exciting during the work. All students were excited. Even students who weren't part of this said, when can we be part of this project? So yeah, it was exciting. They learned a lot. And this is a short brief.
Good. It's good that it spreads. By the way, on this business of the interest that it raises with other students, this is, of course, very good. And it's the way to proliferate. And when you think going forward, there are a number of ways you can do it. First of all, the students that participated can stay on and participate next year as well, because it's like what they call spiral learning. First of all, it was a very short period, of course, and we never exhausted the potential. So they can stay on and do, whatever they plan to do in a more deeper and more serious manner, because they will have more time. Also, you can also take from the same school age group next year, because they're younger. So this is what's nice about children. You can do the same thing, but the kids are new. So that is also a possibility. And it's not either or. You can do both. In other words, you can proliferate with the same age group going forward, and then bring more children next year younger. And then, of course, you can also proliferate sideways to other classes in the same school. If you studied biology and physics, you can concentrate on history or economy. All aspects are relevant. And then, of course, to other schools. We're talking with 2 schools, and of course, there are more schools, in Kosovo. So you go ahead and promote it to other schools. So there's no question that this was just the beginning, just a feeling kind of thing, experimenting to see what the reaction is and so forth, including the reaction, with the authorities, the Ministry of Education, the education system, schoolmaster, whatever. So yeah, by all means, you can proliferate it and do more in terms of adapting it to your local subject, language, everything. And we have a lot of content. We translated only a little bit. We will translate more, but you can also create more content by yourself. And even the technique of virtual tours that we did in some of the facilities is not all that difficult to do. The camera itself, to take this 360 degrees virtual movies, is not very expensive. It's like maybe $200 or something. No, it's, not very cheap, but it's not, it's very affordable. And when you do it, and then you need some software to manipulate it, but the software is free, so it's not a big problem. And the important thing is that now you can take pictures of water-related subjects in Kosovo. And now you are creating content, so the children will be more excited with the teachers. So you can come, you can use our content and also, but you can be very creative and share your content with other countries and so forth. It could be very, very, big motivation. And when you do a research, then of course you can take pictures and then turn that into an education piece. Using the video is very important. So by all means, we have a lot of ways to proliferate. Oh, go ahead. So what do the ladies have to tell us?
It's not that I have to tell anything. I would only like to say thank you for the opportunity to work on the project. It has been a really, really nice project. Children learned a lot, had fun while working, while learning, and we had fun with them as well. So from me,
Having fun.
As a school, only thank you. Having fun while learning.
Right,
Yeah.
and this is so important, it's like
Yeah,
a side, it's
exactly.
not a side thing,
Yeah.
you said 2 things, that you were learning, the teachers as well, and
Of
that you had
course.
fun. And, this is what we're trying to do, to try to, learn together and study together. And then this is an outstanding feature of the program, that it's a great motivation for children when the teachers are not afraid to learn by themselves with it, because you may be more educated in teaching and learning and behavior, discipline, so forth, how to present a neat report. Okay, you're teachers, but that doesn't mean that you know everything about the biology of reclaiming water, and you can study it with the children. And this is very, very encouraging for the children.
Of
It
course.
gives the teachers so much credit, when the students feel that the teachers are willing to expose themselves and study together with them. It's a most empowering feature for the teachers. And we're trying to tell the teachers, and I'm glad that you say it, because not all teachers accept it. A lot of teachers stick to the, all the teachers stick to the way, I'm the authority, I know, I put it on the blackboard, I have a presentation, I'm the master of the knowledge. Well, kids can go into a, it's a varying, I had some experiences with children on a course we did. We did a course on ciphering and cyber safety, different subjects. And so I brought a challenge to the children, decoding and all kinds of stuff like this. I gave them some challenges. I had a whole class prepared to challenge the children with some statistics in the, and I was writing the challenge for the class. I had a whole 1 hour planned, and as I was writing it, this little, 10-year-old, 11-year-old pops up with the answers. What in the world? I thought that they went to do work. Says, who's doing work? I found software that would do it. So while I was typing, he identified a piece of software and did it on his iPhone. And before I was finished, he had the. So we learn a lot. It's
of course. And I can say that that's the most maybe the sweetest part of teaching. I'm not teaching anymore, actually, but I have not been involved into doing the things in the project, but I have followed everything they have done during the project, and I took part with them at the presentation part, but it was really, really nice.
Which is, by the way, very, very important, showing the children how to present and how to be concise, and the challenge of 3 minutes and all that. I know it's very hard, but if you have a child that, as young student, that can present in 3 minutes and can tell the story and not just read and so forth, then, they're ready to do the elevator talk when they meet their opportunity with an investor, and they can, in 3 minutes say something and express themselves. Is very, very important.
That's very important. Yes.
Very important.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Marta, what can you tell us? Thank you.
I think same like Victoria Spatin said, it was really, really great job that you did. Also, the students work very hard. Like Victoria said, I didn't have a part in that project like biology teacher, but I saw how much teachers and also students work in this project. I think that everything was great. Just I have one suggestion maybe. Time of presentation to be a little bit longer, maybe 5 minutes, because I saw that children work too hard and they study too many things. Then and they have to tell so many things, and the time was too short. I think to improve how many things that they study in that project. And also one thing more, you also you told about the certificates, I think, for the school, but I think maybe like a suggestion, every child that took part in that project should have one certificate to know just that he was a part of this.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And what we plan in that, we will tell you, this is why we want to send it to you in electronic form.
Okay.
And so you can manipulate it, and what you can do with it, you can provide certificate for the teachers. Because it's very important, the teachers went through a lot. And for you people that supported it, from the club, and of course for the teachers, students as well. So we will provide you a template with some words about the program and the pilot, the significance and so forth, and gratitude and congratulations on participation. And then of course you take it, and you are welcome to do whatever you want with it, and put your logo. And so you can put your logo, and when the school does it and gives the logo to the children, you can add the school's logo. So you will have it in electronic form, and feel free to, adjust it and so forth. In general, since we are thinking in terms of doing this globally, it has to be adapted locally. We don't have the knowledge, and it's not healthy that we will try from Israel to say, this is the template and so forth, and impose it on everybody. We have an idea, we have some experience, so we offer it, and we provide a suggestion and so forth. But by all means, we expect the clubs and then clubs in different cities and the schools to have some control over the program, because we cannot come into a school in Kosovo and teach. It took us a long time to understand that we can come into the schooling system from the outside with a great idea, but we can only come into the school if we are helpful to the school, if we support the curricula, the interest, the way the school does it, and so forth. So that meant that we cannot come, with a big ego and a big, template, and this is how we do it, and so forth. We should be very flexible. We come with ideas, proposals, and then, so by all means, feel free, and especially that you are the first in Kosovo, and we would look to you to be the leaders in Kosovo. So you decide who is next, what city is next, what kind of schools, how to proliferate, all that is in your good hands, and we will communicate about it more, thinking towards the future, how we do it, how we involve utilities, how we get some funding, because we must have some funding for it. This year we ran it based on the funding we had for the program in Israel, so we cut a little bit for the twinning, but this way now we will need some funding, and by all means we can work it together, and it will be a joint effort, and you will have a lot to say about it. Patrick, what can you tell us? That is better.
First of all, thank you very much. For me, it was an honor to be part of this project, because I was new also as an employer at the school. So it was really a pleasure to be part of this project. I want to thank everyone, but especially I want to thank Shpatim for his great job we did with us and with children's too. But children's make a great job together. So for me, it was the first time having a chance to do something like that with the school. So I was I was very honored to be with this project, because I learned a lot with you and from the children also. I don't know what to say else, because children make the most of the things, so they make great job, and they make too much job in a short time. So for me especially, it was a great practice with them too.
Excellent, thank you very much. Okay, so this is great, and I'm very glad the author suggested, the extension of the time. There are a few things about it. Of course, you're right. They had two things, about it that for which you want more time. Number one, they did work, and so there's more details. And there's a lot of excitement. They were very involved, and they did a lot of effort and excitement, so they want to express it. So all these are very good reasons, and presenting in the Rotary Club would be a wonderful opportunity, because then they can maybe talk for 15 minutes and so forth, and everybody can talk and in sequence, and so they will all express themselves. That's one thing. Another thing that we did a couple of times is they should present it in the school. It's the best marketing approach. In other words, if they make a presentation for the entire age group or the entire school, or maybe even for the school teachers, so then they have a chance to go more into it and to express the depth of what they did. And if we have more time, we can expect more. But you see, if we expanded it, we were planning that to share with you the dilemmas. We were planning to have 3 minutes and to have them all, and we divided them into 3 rooms. And we were hoping that the meetings in the room will take, 45 minutes. The meetings in the room lasted 1.5 hours. So we never stuck. When you say 3 minutes, this is before you start and you end. This was the net result. Instead of 45 minutes, it lasted an hour and a half. And so the entire event, which we thought would be an hour and a half, became 3 hours. So, and it's very critical because usually you lose the attention and they go away, and we didn't want that to happen. So, but also, when they have the skill to present it in very, very short, they learn something. They learn to select the most important things. So yes, absolutely, they have to give up something. And the very experience that they have to choose what to say and select and give up something is also something they gain. But Alda, you're right. They certainly did work to present that's worth more than 3 minutes in presentation. And 3 minutes is too short, obviously. And they should try to provide them an opportunity to do more. I can tell you that there is in Israel a conference which we participate in having to do with cognitive sciences. It's the Society for Neuroscience in Israel. It's taking place once a year. A lot of neuroscientists in Israel, about 80 PhD students, and all a very big subject that is studied in Israel. And so once a year, they bring all the professors from 6, 7 universities in Israel that study cognitive sciences. It's a lot, because the country is small after all. And they bring all the students, and they have, aside from the talks and all that, most of the talks are given by students, masters and PhD students. And, they have hundreds of talks. And in order to be able to do that, they also have like one morning, a couple of hours, 2 hours or something, of 5 minutes talks. So the students stand up there and they have 5 minutes, and there's a gong, automatic gong. Every 5 minutes, you have to come. You didn't complete, you go down. Every 5 minutes. And it's a big challenge. And we're talking PhD students or master students, and they're having a challenge. So when the children are exposed to it with 3 minutes when they're young, when they get to the university, they'll be able to do it. They will know the challenge. So there are two aspects to it. On one hand, you're right. And also one other thing, a 3 minutes or 5 minute talk is one thing. And say maybe a 20 minutes or half an hour talk, or maybe 45 minutes talk, in detail, which this year they didn't do enough work to be able to justify like a full 20-minute talk. But next year they will. And that's a different structure. If you want to talk for 20 minutes, there's an introduction, the beginning, and end, the story, maybe tell a story in the middle in order to put a personal touch to it. I mean, it's a different form of presentation. And so by all means, we're not saying that everything should be done in 3 minutes. 3 minutes was like one thing, but yes, the other forms of presentation are very valuable. And you also have the platform of the YouTube, the video taking. So you can take a video and they can make a presentation as you see fit. Let them try it out and, 5, 10 minutes, whatever, and take a video clip and send us a video clip. We can upload it to the website. So by all means, it's not, this was very strict for the presentation because we had a schedule with everybody. But other than that, by all means, it has a lot of value. And there is in Israel, the Rotary runs a very big program called Young Speaker, where it's like a debate, and they pick up a subject and they need to give a 5-minute talk about the subject, and it's run across the country with all the Rotary clubs. 60 Rotary clubs adopt 60 schools and with hundreds of children, and it's a big competition, and there's a winner, nationwide winner. So you can do the same thing. I mean, there are other. I'm sure that the district in Israel will be very glad to share with you the concept of the young speaker. We can speak to the Haifa Club and they will share with you everything about it. And this now is focused on speaking. We also like, to tell them, okay, so when you speak about water. So we combine it. But the subject there is the ability to speak, the ability to pronounce yourself, to take a subject and to express it. Sometimes they take a subject and they want you to present both sides of the same subject. So the issue there is the form of presentation. So yeah, by all means, they value it very much in Israel, and it's very good. Great. Okay. So going forward for next year. So I'm glad that you like it, and we of course would love to have you with us, and you will have an opportunity to do it, deeper and longer, and we will start earlier. Hopefully you will be out of the corona. How is the corona vaccination situation developing in Kosovo? Are you getting there?
Very bad.
Very bad, and slow. The challenges there. So any scheduling? Do you know what it takes a lot? It's really
no, the problem is that there are not enough vaccines for Kosovo. The other problem is that the first vaccines arrived very, very late, just last week. So
wow.
the first people of Kosovo started to get vaccinated in Albania a week before the last week. The Prime Minister of Albania invited the healthcare workers to get vaccinated in Albania. So a small number of them already started a week before last week, and then last week the first vaccines came to Kosovo, and also healthcare workers started to get vaccinated, and some senior.
Right, that's the way we did it in Israel.
85 people just started to get vaccinated today.
Okay, well, at least it's the beginning.
So
well, the good side,
I guess Kosovars are going to get vaccinated naturally by the virus, all of them, so it's okay.
I
know from the 4 of us that are here in the meeting, 3 of us have already passed the virus. Or 2 of us, Petret and I, right? Arta and Shpetim?
Yeah, me too.
You too, so yeah.
Well, there you go. So you're okay.
The good side. People have passed it, so it's a good signal.
Well, what I can share with you on the good side is that it seems to work. The vaccination seems to work. So you have to wait a little bit, maybe, you're right, but it seems to work. And also, it really becomes very effective only really after the second vaccination, 1 or 2 weeks after the second. I just heard today about a friend of mine, my age, so it's a different story a little bit. I'm 72, so okay. So a friend of mine was vaccinated, and a few weeks after the first vaccination, he was in a hospital for treatment for something else, and during the testing, and he became sick. So it's really, as they say, you really need the 2 vaccination and an extra week or 2 before you are really protected. But when you are protected, so we still wear the masks, and we carry them on where it's required by law, and people are, you don't get into an elevator without and so forth, but we feel much safer, and there's people we know and all that. So
another problem in Kosovo is that people are hesitating to get vaccinated because the only choice here is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. And now, because of the issues with this vaccine, the issues that have been widely discussed.
At least in the media, there is an issue in the media.
Yeah, the troubles with the blood clots and everything. So people are hesitating to get vaccinated in lots of cases. I know many healthcare workers that refused to get vaccinated, and it will be the same with other people.
What is happening? This is a problem, and it's a problem with AstraZeneca specifically, but it's really mostly the spirit.
There is no other choice in Kosovo except AstraZeneca.
When you think about it, the danger from a very minor chances of clots, that come about is so minor as compared to the danger of the disease of the virus itself that you have to wait the 2, and pick your pick. I mean, so if you don't, and then also there is a lot of fake news that people are just, they're
Yeah.
just rumors and all
Yeah,
that.
true.
And so what's happening is that, you know, maybe a certain percentile will not, because they have all kinds of belief and all that. And so, but when you have the majority of the population vaccinated, it doesn't matter that much if you have a few.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
the thing to
myself
worry about.
have not been given the chance to get vaccinated because I would not refuse it, but my turn will be somewhere in December maybe, or God knows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a big challenge, but okay, it will eventually we'll get there. And you know, in Israel, what happened was that everything was very intensive. So when it came in, you know, the response was very intensive, and when they had the lockdown, like we had, although we are all vaccinated, nevertheless we still had three major total lockdowns, three, and the lockdown was lockdown like we were at home for a month. So it's like what Paris is going into now in France and all that. We went through three like this. So you know, the dynamic was very, after the first one a year ago, everybody thought we were done, and our prime minister, you know, big show off, he said, well, go free, have fun. He went on the media, have fun, he said. So people went and had fun, and right away, R went up, and right away we had thousands of very sick people. So in spite of the medical system being really very good in general terms, it was climbing like Italy. We were getting flooding. So they were very concerned. So they overreacted and closed everything down again. Another blow. So in a very short period, we had three total lockdowns. And what happened was, because it was this way, that way, this way, that way, and with all the schools and everything, you know, and decisions were made in the evening to be applied tomorrow. Like, it's open a school from today to tomorrow. So as a result, there was a loss of confidence. You know, people didn't believe the government. They didn't. So it was very hard to impose it. So it was not easy. It was not easy. It was very intense. But luckily, we got enough of the vaccines. What has happened with the vaccination in Israel, the reason that we were sort of prepared and we got, you know, so many doses of vaccination, you know, that we pay dearly for, but nevertheless, the reason we got them was because our medical infrastructure, and especially the computerization, the information, is really excellent. It's excellent. It is really top notch. So when you come in, no matter where you go, you are vaccinated, you are recorded with your ID, the information is there. So there is excellent tracking. So that could provide Pfizer with a feedback of how many people were vaccinated out of every age group and how many were sick. And so in effect, it became a big experiment. So the entire country became an experiment. And I must tell you, it was really very impressive. You see, my two children are physicians. So my daughter works in a big hospital. So in the hospital, they had the ability to vaccinate immediate family because, you know, you're in the medical profession and you are exposed. So this was meant for the families. So you bring it home. So you need to, so as her father, I was eligible for vaccination. So I went there. Huge, thousands of people. But with my ID and all that, they knew right away where to do it. So I got vaccinated. But the interesting thing was that I was lined up to be vaccinated with my medical service a month later. And then automatically this got canceled and the record went there. And the second vaccination was still in a general public facility in the municipality where all the information from the healthcare company and the hospitals was fed in. So when I showed up, it was clear that I got my first vaccination in the hospital. So I got the second there, and it was all recorded. Everybody had an application on the phone, and it was fantastic. It's really,
Mhm.
and now we have a certificate on, on an application. So if you go into a restaurant, you have to show the certificate.
You
So
show it.
really the IT, the computerization of the process was really, really top notch, perfect. And so this is why they prefer to give the vaccination to Israel. So this was the playground, really, in a way. And so now we know it's working. So yeah, we had an experience. And you know what people say? I was reading, there's a wonderful book called Spillover. It talks about viruses and so forth. And this is just, they call it NBO, the next big one. So this was the NBO, but now,
Yeah.
of course, they say it's not the last NBO. There will be another one and another one. So we know we are, the world is changing. And when we fly over that much and everything else, and we mingle, so hopefully we would learn from this something in terms of protecting the environment and the earth, because it's not going to be tolerant much longer. Okay, so thank you very much, and we will be in touch relative to next year. What I suggest that we do, and that's most importantly for the club and for the school, to prepare, with more clubs, and also with the utilities, because the utilities can really support us, or industry or government. We really have to find a source of partnership, both in the academia and in industry, so that we can work on the subject and see the infrastructure, see the system, come take a picture, get a guest talk about the system and so forth, but also have some financial support so that we can have the Kosovo project continue and have some support, and we can then translate more stuff. And so this is our plan to continue. So if the children, by the way, are still in school and they want to continue on the work, feel free to continue with them. That's okay. And if you want our support for that, by all means, we will be glad to help. Maybe talk to the children again or meet with them. Our students are still working at school, but this is now almost a full month of national holidays. We have the Holocaust Day today, and we have next week, we have the Independence Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, and then we have a couple of religious holidays. And so it's a very hectic period in holiday. And then you start to feel the end of the year, and they go on tours and they have all kinds of celebrations. So there's not a lot of studying done. This is, by the way, we expedite the graduation to be on March before Easter, before Passover, so that, because otherwise we go into this time of year, and this is now graduation time everywhere, and everybody is elsewhere. So this is why we rush it before. But if you continue, if the students are available, they have more work to do, and all, by all means, you can do it, and we will support you. And then we will plan on next year. You can start to throw ideas as to who you want to have next year, what age group, what schools, and how much support we will have, and we will design the program accordingly.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
excellent, very good. Thank you very much.
For the next year, it will be the same way of presenting and the job we did this year?
In terms of the graduation, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's an excellent question, Salim. Very, very good question. In principle, yes, because it's international. In Israel, we do it physically in the Technion, and they all come to the Technion, a big excitement. But of course, we cannot do it with all of the world. And it also very much depends on the corona. And doing it virtually, the nice thing about it is that we had almost 400 people. We had 375 people on the graduation. But with this technology, we can have thousands. So it's an excellent opportunity. That isn't to say that we will not have a physical event in the Technion, for instance, in which we can combine the virtual event so that students can join us. We can have cameras and you can see. And by the way, we recorded the event and we uploaded it to our new website in the same structure as you were there in the graduation now, but instead of having the active room, we have a recording of the General Assembly and of the children. So everything that we did is on the website. You can keep using it. You can show it to other schools because the website is still active, just as it was, hiteach.com, and it's the same thing. Now, next year, of course, we will make some changes. So we may have a physical event, and so we can join it in Israel. Depending on the corona, we may embark on some physical activity together next year as well. So what is possible? In general, first of all, there is the possibility of coming over to have a teacher's training in Kosovo, maybe in Albania, maybe jointly in Kosovo and Albania together. Maybe Ram can come, or I can come, someone can come and, spend a couple of days doing a real teacher's training, physically. So that could be one possibility. We can possibly run a teacher's training in Israel, certainly in the summer of next year, which we will have, and then we can invite some teachers from around the world. So we will change it to run it in English, not a big problem. We had 3 such international training, every time with 30 people from all over the world that we ran in the last couple of years. This was an initiative of the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we ran it, and it was very exciting. And if they come, we can even tour some of the facilities and all this. So that is a possibility. Of course, it requires more budget for the RHAW, for the exchange, for the traveling and so forth. But that is also something in our mind. I don't know about next year, but maybe the following year is basically, it is in our planning. So that is also another element. And of course, when we proceed going forward 2 years' time later on, when we have more schools, and this could quickly become into where we have 15 schools this year from around the world, we can have 150 schools next year. Very easy. Imagine if just in Kosovo, we had 2 schools, and we have 10 schools next year, or 15 schools from Kosovo, and do the same in America and India and everything else. Before you know it, we will have 150 schools from around the world. Not very difficult. So this is 10 times. And take another year, another 10 times, we can easily be in 1,000 schools. Very easy. And this is all scalable because, if we have more schools, we do the same thing on Zoom, a little more effort, but it's scalable. It doesn't grow directly in the same manner. So if this is successful and we keep going, this can easily in 2-3 years reach 1,000 schools. So of course, with that kind of audience, we will have to think differently about physical engagement as well, but we certainly think about it. And it doesn't necessarily have to all be related directly to Israel. In other words, we have a school in Albania and a school in Kosovo active in a school, even participating like this, or even with Romania and Poland, brings a lot of opportunity, of course, with America and elsewhere. So yes, by all means, we don't intend to keep everything strictly virtual forever. For the time being, the virtual has an advantage for the course and for the event, and it's very scalable. But no, we certainly want to add the personal, aspect to it. It's, life is not going virtual. We are not becoming, androids. We are staying people. So, and you can be creative about that, and tell us what you think is right and how you can relate, and like if you want to proliferate it to a different city and you want to adopt another Rotary Club and another school and like make it a project that you like what we did with you. Now you have some experience, so continue in your school, but you want to proliferate it, and you want to be the leaders with the next school. In terms of the Rotary involvement, the utilities, the school, by all means, I will be glad to do that. So the idea is to proliferate it, in hierarchy. So you take it in Kosovo and you design it. We can support you with knowledge we gain from other countries and so forth, but it's, it's a mutual gain. It's a joint effort, and we do it together. So by all means, your ideas are as important as ours.
Thanks.
Good. Very good. Okay, so thank you, everybody, and thank Patrick and everybody, and thank the Rotary Club and the schools and the children, mostly the children, and we will send you a certificate, and we will talk about next year shortly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank
It was a
Bye-bye.
pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Take care.